revenues. Let's speak to Kevin Poulter, lawyer and social mediator commentator. Well, it could be the most fundamental change, given where we are. We're looking earlier in the week, Verizon, AOL, that's where they bought that, isn't it?
Well, there's a big suggestion that that's the case. And what this is talking about, there's been a suggestion that this is a consumer right to block ads, and we've seen it on computers already. I think a significant percentage of people now block adverts through various apps, through various programs on their desktops. Why shouldn't we have the opportunity on mobiles? The reality is that a lot of these small, particularly smaller organisations that are running online, as well as the bigger ones such as Google, rely on advertising to fund themselves. We laugh about Google, $69 billion a year on mobile advertising. That's tripled in the last 3 years internationally. But 60 billion alone for Google, it's a lot of money. But what about the smaller organisations? What about independent or local newspapers who rely now on advertising to be able to push their stories to create and to continue their business? That's where we're going to see some effect. And we'll have to wait and see.
There is a thing called net neutrality, isn't it, which means that you can't interfere with what's on there. I mean, I can imagine the people like yourself are going to make a lot of money out of this, aren't they?
Well, potentially. In certain countries, that's right. And it's right, it should be an even playing ground. We've seen Google already in trouble with the European courts over unfair competition practices, potentially. But it's exactly the same issue. We all get sick of adverts. What it does mean, though, is that people such as Facebook and Twitter who have already done it will start pushing it as part of the content. Rather than having a separate thing down the side, we'll start seeing it as part of the role,
I mean, surely the mobile operators have a point, don't they? I mean, they invest in the infrastructure. They want a slice of what's on there if it's advertising.
That's right. Yeah, it seems fair enough. Of course, we're seeing how much money is being made and generated from advertising already. Anything that any chance to get a little bit more, well, that's just fair competition, we argue. What this is really about, we're told, is bringing Google to account, its dominant position across the world, and saying if we take the opportunity to reduce Google's sort of exposure, particularly in terms of advertising, for even just an hour a day a week, it's going to start making them think twice about reinvesting, sharing that wealth, and, well, let's see where it takes us.
I mean, it seems to me, from what you've been, this is so tectonically vital. If it were to happen, it probably will be watered down at the end of the day by lawyers.
Potentially by lawyers, potentially by the government. It has been tried in France previously, and after a week, the government stepped in and said, actually, no, we're not going to allow this. It's just too disruptive. So it's been attempted. It's failed once in France. Now, if it's going to be a global issue, each country will have to deal with it in its own way.
Kevin, thanks very much indeed for joining us.